Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the final of the Ginetta Junior official eSeries. I'm Drew Peters, and we're here at the virtual Oulton Park for the final round of the Ginetta Championship. It's all been leading up to this moment. These young drivers have pushed the limits, raced wheel to wheel, and tonight we are going to crown the ultimate champion. We are here in the commentary box with myself and Tom O'Farrell. We've got the broadcast director, who is also Tom O'Farrell, making all of the camera work in the background. We've got the series organizer being Mick Sutton, and all of this wouldn't be possible without him, who runs PASR. And we've of course got our safety car driver of Jordan Taylor, who hasn't had too much work this season, but we'll have to see what happens tonight. We've seen some incredible racing so far, with some absolute wheel-to-wheel action, and very similar to what you would see in real life for all of these rounds that we can see now, where we started out at Oulton Park on the 22nd of August. We then went on to Donington Park GP on the 29th of August for round 2. Then next on to Anglesey on the 5th of September. Then we went over to Snetterton 300 for round 4, Silverstone National for round 5, and Brands Hatch GP was last round. And now we round off the season just where we started, back at Oulton Park, but this time on the island layout with that hairpin that we can just see in front of us there. Which is a brilliant overtaking opportunity and a bit of potential for carnage, with it being such a tight corner. And without that corner, you would normally go on to do fast left-hander, followed by Shell Oils, and then the chicane. But now you just go straight back onto the straight, and then down into Knickerbrook chicane. So these are the prizes. It's not just about the virtual glory. There's an incredible prize on the line tonight. Of the winner of this championship will win a free entry to the Ginetta Scholarship on the 11th and 13th of October. Even in second, you get 3 hours in the official Ginetta simulator, along with a Ginetta factory tour to see all the behind the scenes and what happens over at Ginetta. And in third place, you get yourself a very nice upgrade to your sim racing setup with a 34-inch Samsung G5 gaming monitor. Driver of the round would normally get a 3M UK sim gloves, which is perfect to make sure you got a good grip of your sim racing wheel. And finally, we've got the 100% attendance award, the coveted PASR cap for those who show up to every round, regardless of how they end up doing. And yeah, just make sure that they show their face. It's been an absolutely intense series to watch so far, with Gabriel Norse, as we can see here, leading the pack by a total of 47 points, with an incredible track record, as we can see here, with I believe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 podiums, with just one round where he didn't finish on the podium, ahead of Logan McAllister, who's shown some incredible driving throughout the season, but has had some pretty bad luck. But we can see he's also had a brilliant track record of a lot of podiums and even 2 race wins. Following them is Will Clark, who's had some very consistent results and always managed to be out there and keep it on the track and keep it behind often Logan McAllister. Then following on from that, we have Nathan Snaith, who managed an incredible round at round 2 with a P3 and a race victory. Who has also had 2 podiums following on from that. Behind him is Ginetta, who's really picked up throughout this season, massively developing on his skill throughout the season, and he will round off the top 5. Then we have Lewis Morton Evans in 6th with, again, some pretty consistent results, managing to continue his way up. Addison Smith was able to take a win at round 2, but he doesn't join us tonight. And following on from that, we have Samuel Chilton, Harry Powell, Riley Pogue, Anthony Roberts, Gary Samuel, Max Galgi, and Callum Boot, who was only able to do first race at round 2. As you can see from the differences in points, the top 3 are fairly set tonight. There is possibility for that to change around. Mathematically, it's definitely not over, but probability-wise, it's fairly solidified. But the race to watch for tonight will be Ginetta and Nathan Snaith, as there's possibility for them to swap around to take that 4th spot on the in the championship. So, racing at Oulton Park, a very tight circuit, difficult to race around, difficult for overtaking, as we now jump into qualifying, where you don't need to worry about the overtaking, but about doing that fastest lap. And we can see at the moment we've got Logan McAllister, who is also able to top the practice times. He is half a second in front of Gabriel Norse, which you have to remember that is a big gap in this championship, and especially in such low-powered cars that these are. We've got, then following on from him, Will Clark, 2/10 behind Gabriel. Isha Nija, just 200ths behind Will Clark. And then Nathan Snaith, about 3/10 off of the back of Isha Nija there. So I'm expecting to see the gap start to close down, start to get quite tight by the end of this session. We do still have 7 minutes left, which is plenty of time for the timesheets to switch around. In real life, we've got 3 laps to do our laps, which definitely makes it a bit of a challenge, and these drivers have 10 minutes. So yes, they've got a bit longer, but it's still very much having to do that lap very quickly. And especially around here, it's very difficult to hook up a lap. We've got a slightly shorter lap than we did at the first round, so not quite as many corners to have to get right. But we have that very difficult hairpin that we've just watched Logan McAllister go through there. Very tight corner, and the rest of the track is also very tight, very technical track, and definitely difficult to hook one together and keep it on the track, let alone race and do a fast lap. As we see there, Logan McAllister going 400ths quicker in Sector 1, as that's Lewis Moore Evans, exploring the limits of grip and exploring the limits of the track. Logan McAllister, he's now about 2/10 up on his previous fastest lap. At this rate, he'll be 7/10 clear of the pack, at least. As we watch him there coming through Druids, getting a little bit wide on the exit there. Holding it in control as we watch him now coming towards the final corner. And I wish I could tell you the name, but I do not know. As we see him there using all the track limits on the exit there, getting a little bit of a wobble on. I'm not sure if that's legal in this around this lap, as we now watch him come over the line to set a not faster lap, or I believe that is a lap that has been invalidated, probably due to track limits there. Due to using that green, as we saw on the exit, I did wonder if that might have been the case, and it certainly was. So now, Logan looking to improve that lap again as we watch him coming through Cascades, turn 2 or maybe 3, depending on what you believe. Now coming down towards that tight hairpin, braking as late as possible, but making sure to keep up the minimum speed because, you know, the power in these cars is so small that it's important to keep up that minimum speed. As we see him going all the way down to first and a bit wide there, so he won't be improving this lap, I'm very sure of that. But yeah, these cars are very much about keeping up that minimum speed, making sure to not drop down, because you can't get the drive out of the corner. You can't kind of put the power down and just drive out, because they have only got 100 brake horsepower. They might be very light, coming in at about 800 to 900 kilos. I believe it's supposed to be 910 with the driver in the car. But that's even so, due to the little power, you really do need to make sure you keep up the minimum speed and aim for those exits. As we see there, Nathan Snaith coming into the pits, perhaps to refuel his car, or maybe even switch over his tyres. Qualifying, tow is very important in real life, and I imagine tow is very important in the sim. I haven't personally raced these cars in the sim too much, so I couldn't tell you 100% about the slipstream effect, especially in qualifying. But if it's anything like real life, and the sim is incredibly realistic, you know, I didn't do any karting, and I went into the Ginetta scholarship and I was able to win, which is what these drivers are fighting for, and I just came from the sim. So it's a very realistic platform, and due to that, I imagine it'll be very important to get a tow. And tow this whole season has been a very hot topic of discussion about drivers needing to keep in it, and maybe even using it to get their lap in. As we see there, Gabriel Norse improving just under 4/10 of a second behind Logan McAllister now, but still, Logan McAllister by a significant chunk, able to hold on to that provisional pole position. As we're now watching Will Clark going faster than his lap, but not quite faster than Logan's, as he's 3/10 off in Sector 1, and he's slower in Sector 2. So we'll have to see what happens now. Will Clark holding it in third, and still 200ths behind is Isha Nija. And we'll have to see what happens with that, whether he's able to improve and fight his way up to third to take that final spot on the podium. Gabriel Norse there looking like he got his lap invalidated, so he won't be going any faster this lap. We've got 2 minutes 40 left on qualifying now, and that's about 1 or 2 laps left that the drivers will be able to get in. So, not too much time left, but we have seen throughout the season a lot of these drivers have been setting their fastest laps towards the last laps, especially Logan. But Logan has set a very fast lap so far already. Logan McAllister is definitely one of the drivers to watch based on this season. He's had some incredible performances, as I was talking about earlier when we had a look at the championship standings. And it's typically been a fight between him and Gabriel. Will Clark quite often getting in there in and amongst that battle. But as I say, Logan has had some bad luck, unfortunately. And that means, as we can see with the live championship standings run by Jordan Taylor there on the right, it's unlikely for him to be able to catch Gabriel Norse. I believe Gabriel Norse would have to not start both races and Logan would have to win them. Or it's around about that sort of gap that he would have to close up. So it's unlikely for him to win, but still mathematically possible. Gabriel Norse has always been very, very consistent throughout the whole season. He's had 1/8 result at round 2, race 1 at Donington Park, but that's been it. Apart from that, he's been on the podium every single race, and he's been very consistent when we haven't really seen him have any sort of bad round, as we see Lewis Moore Evans there going quite wide over those curbs. But yeah, because of that, it means that the championship is fairly wrapped up in Gabriel's favour, and he is likely to be ending up in that Ginetta scholarship on the 11th to the 13th of October, depending on how well he does and what day he is attending. And we now see going into the race, though, the races have always been very exciting. If you wanted to go back and watch one, I'd say Silverstone's been one of the best rounds so far. That was incredible close racing. The slipstream effect was very strong, and yeah, absolutely close the entire time. So I imagine we will see very similar around here. There is opportunity for some carnage with it being so tight, and the racing is typically very good around here at Oulton. We did see that at round 1 with the reverse grid. Gabriel Norse and Logan McAllister were starting at the back, and they were able to get their way all the way up to first, as we see Will Clark there going for a little bounce over the curbs. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for Logan McAllister and Gabriel Norse. Ishan Nijar as well, I would say to keep an eye on him. He's been improving throughout the season, and that is a checkered flag on our qualifying session, and it is Logan McAllister that seems to have taken pole position here. I believe that all the drivers now have finished their laps mostly, and they do get to finish this lap if they want to, if they have improved. But Lewis Moore Evans there is an example of someone who has not improved their lap, and so will just come straight into the pits. Will Clark again also seems to have not improved his lap, and it looks like he's going to stay in third position, 7.5 tenths off of Logan McAllister. And I imagine we'll see him pulling into the pits this time as well. Looks like something happened for him there, being 2.5 seconds off in sector 2. So I think everybody now seems to have finished their laps and will all be coming into the pits. And yeah, does certainly look that way, as we've got our pole position man, Logan McAllister, in the room with us now. First of all, congratulations on securing pole position. How are you feeling going into this race with the advantage of being in pole? And what's your game plan for keeping the lead?
First of all, thank you very much. First part of the season, I think. Yeah, so a good qualifying. Yeah, it was just, I'll probably go into this race knowing that I just need to win it. Fastest lap, keep it clean, keep it on track. And hopefully, possibly winning this championship if worse comes to worse. Gabriel has 2 DNFs. But yeah, it would just be mainly pulling a gap from the guys behind and hopefully sailing to victory.
Well, good luck for race 1. I hope we can potentially see you back in here later on.
Thank you very much, Jude.
That was Logan McAllister, our current pole position man, who has done very well this season, as I've been talking about, and as he says, his first pole position of the season. And I'm sure he will be looking to absolutely maximise every point that he can get this weekend, because, as we say, it is technically possible for him to win if Gabriel has an incredibly unlucky round. But nevertheless, in racing, you have to absolutely maximise everything possible. And so, even though he knows that it's unlikely for him to win, he will be wanting to take the win, take the fastest lap, and unfortunately, potentially wishing Gabriel to have a slightly worse round like he has unfortunately had a few times this season. Although Logan will be going into the scholarship, I believe, he said earlier in the season. So regardless of whether he wins, he will be entering the scholarship, and him and Gabriel will go from being virtual competitors into being real-life competitors. Remember that tonight at stake is not just the scholarship if they win the championship. Logan is currently looking very strong to win the 3 hours in the Ginetta simulator, and of course his Ginetta factory tour, with Will Clark potentially looking to take that gaming monitor if he can hold his position as well. We've got 1 minute to go until we get onto the grid and we see a probably amazing looking track walk, or grid walk should I say, from Tom O'Farrell in the media section. As we say, of course, Logan McAllister on pole position. In these cars, it's very important to keep up the minimum, but it's also, because of that, fairly easy to defend, especially around such a tight lap like Oulton Park. You can kind of hold the inside line, and it's very difficult for anyone to get past, so I'm sure that's what Logan will be looking to do. But as we see here, Junior Saloon Car Championship, and Tom O'Farrell is going to talk you through that.
Hello, good evening everyone. Junior Saloon Car Championship is our next official eSeries. That is coming up at the start of December. So 5th of December, Brands Hatch Indy is our first round for that. Entry requirements are very similar to the Ginetta series in the fact they have to follow the Junior Saloon Car Championship scholarship entry requirements as well. So your date of birth has to fall between the 1st of January 2008 and the 30th of March 2011. April, sorry. Drivers cannot have previously competed in any more than 3 rounds of a Motorsport UK series. So you can't have completed any rounds basically driving a car. Entry fees are £70 for the series. That includes the upgraded mod for the car as well. We've had it laser scanned, so that obviously it's more exact compared to Season 2 and Season 1's car. Entry, again, is free entry. Prizes again, shall I say. First place prize is entry to the Junior Saloon Car Scholarship, as I said. So it's a very, very good prize, like we have here for Ginetta this evening. In fact, we've got 3 minutes to the grid. So, Jude, we're going to go back to the. We're going to go have a grid walk, shall we?
Absolutely. So here we go for the coveted Tom O'Farrell grid walk, famous Tom O'Farrell grid walk. As we go down, we've got Logan McAllister here on pole position, taking that right hand side inside spot. I'm not sure what's happened here.
Are you still with me?
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah? That's odd, guy. My thing has frozen. I cannot see the stream, unfortunately. There we go. Yeah, as I was saying, Logan McAllister on pole position there, and he is lining up next to him is Gabriel Noss in the red and white car. He was able to put together a good lap in qualifying. Will Clark will follow Gabriel in 3rd position in that white and purple, and followed by him will be Isha Nija, who will be interesting to watch and see if he can hold on to Will Clark. Following him is Nathan Snaith in 5th position. And in last position will be Lewis Morton Evans in that um, black and purple car. At the back, we've got the safety car of Jordan Taylor, ready in case is any carnage that we might see across the race. We have had him deployed a few times throughout this season, but thankfully not too many, as the drivers have been very respectful, very clean for the majority of the season, and we've seen some great racing, very much like real life. And as I say, we haven't had to see too much safety car intervention, as we are now very close to the lights coming on. 20 minutes of racing action will be soon to get underway, with Logan McAllister trying to maximise every point that he can possibly get, as he has done throughout the season. But we'll have to see. Hopefully for him, his bad luck will not be with him this season, and he'll finally be able to have one of those good rounds to finish off the season, as it's always nice to end a racing season on a high. Gabriel Norse, though, will be looking to not take too many risks, because he very much doesn't need to. Being in the lead of this championship, I believe, I've spoken to Tom, and he said if Gabriel just finishes this race, or just starts this race pretty much, and does the first lap, he will win the championship. So I'm sure he'll be looking to not take too many risks, as the 6 lights come on. And we will about to have the first one go red. Red lights come on, and they are held, and lights out, and away we go. Good start by Logan and Gabriel there. Very equal start across the grid, must be said, as Logan now coming back towards the outside of the track, looking to take that racing line, and doesn't need to defend from Gabriel, which is great for him because he won't lose too much momentum now. As there are moves going at the back of the pack, with that's Ishan Nijar going around the outside of Will Clark into turn 1. Now we have the inside for Cascades, and he makes the move and he gets it done on Will Clark, as that's Nathan Snaith following through Ishan Nijar and Will Clark, but Will Clark is able to hold that momentum around the outside, and he's able to keep up in that 4th position, although he did of course lose out to Ishan Nijar there, but he'll be looking to follow that through, as that's now lots of moves going on down into the very tight hairpin, as that's Gabriel and Logan McAllister pulling away from the grid, and Nathan Snaith making the move on Lewis Morton Evans as he drops back down to 6th position. Everyone seems to be settling down a little bit now as we come single file down into this second chicane of Knickerbrook, and we've got Will Clark there sitting in behind Ishan Nijar now. Not looking to make any immediate moves back after Ishan Nijar made that move past him at turn 1, which was a great move around the outside. We've got Logan McAllister already pulling a 7/10 gap to Gabriel Norse. It does look like, as I say, Gabriel Norse just looking to not take too many unnecessary risks. And I'm sure once he's completed these first couple of laps, he might start really pushing, as that inner racing driver inside of him starts to fight its way out, and he'll want to start battling Logan McAllister. Since the championship is fairly decided, it doesn't matter too much if they keep battling, and they might as well just have a fun race together, to be honest. Will Clark still sitting in behind Ishan Nijar, looking like they may be trying to work together, fight up to that 2nd position, as it's now 1.6 second gap already that Gabriel and Logan have managed to pull to behind. As I say that, but Will Clark now having a run out of turn 1 down towards Cascades, as the squeezing is Ishan Nijar and Will Clark there. Will Clark looking to go for that switchback maneuver, as he does get a good run out, but I'm not sure he'll be able to capitalise too much on that, as that's Ishan Nijar looking like he's going to be defending. Will Clark and Ishan Nijar going side by side. Will Clark looking to make that outside maneuver, potentially, that Ishan made on him at turn 1 on lap 1. Not quite being able to make it happen, and that's Ishan Nijar holding on to that podium position. Logan McAllister and Gabriel Norse now. Gabriel Norse, as I say, pulling back up to Logan, perhaps pushing a bit now that he knows he's got that first lap under his belt, and he's pretty much won the championship now. I believe I'm right in saying, as that's I think that's Lewis Morton Evans there going off in the background at Knickerbrook chicane, and yeah, Gabriel Norse there holding that gap. He's managed to take out about 2/10 from Logan McAllister so far, but Logan McAllister pulling back that gap to 7/10. And it looks like Logan's just going to try and get into that rhythm that we've seen him be able to get into during the season. And once he gets into that, he seems to be pretty unstoppable, to be fair to him. So yeah, that's what he'll be looking to do. As Will Clark now on Ishan Nijar, trying to fill up his mirrors, pressure him into a mistake, but it doesn't quite happen. And it looks like now Will Clark has suffered from that a little bit as he's lost some time to Ishan Nijar. The race now settling down a little bit, very much single file as everybody goes and sets fastest laps there. Purple, purple, purple down the timesheets, and yeah, the race very much fizzling out. Logan McAllister and Gabriel Norse still pulling that gap to Ishan Nijar, looking like incredibly strong drivers at this round, with a great pace advantage over everybody else. Pulling that 2.6 second gap now, should I say, to the previous drivers. Lewis Moore and Evans now, due to his mistakes, looks like he's about 2.8 seconds off. And that is a big gap in this that's very difficult to gain back. But we've seen now for the championship, that 4th place was between Ishan Nijar and Nathan Snaith. And Ishan Nijar now is ahead of Nathan Snaith by 2 positions. And I believe if he can keep this up in the next 2 races, he'll be still 1 point off of Nathan Snaith. Actually, no, sorry, that's not true. I'm not exactly sure. But he is in a position to potentially take 4th position from Nathan Snaith.
So if I've done the maths, and obviously it's a 5-point gap, if they finish in the exact same position, so Nijar comes 3rd in race 2 and Snaith comes 5th in race 2, then it'll be 1 point that Nijar gets it. So Snaith needs to basically catch Nijar and follow him for the next race, or at least try and do it in this one.
There you go. That's the possibility for 4th position between Ishan Nijar and Nathan Snaith, as that's Ishan Nijar setting the fastest lap right after Logan has set it. But unfortunately, that gap has increased, and it's now 3.5 seconds, which is not going to be easy to catch. We have seen it throughout the season. We have seen large gaps be caught, especially by the likes of Logan McAllister, able to bring down 2-second gaps, 3-second gaps from even leading drivers. But now, yeah, as I say, Logan McAllister showing his great pace that he's had throughout the season, and arguably has had some of the fastest pace of anybody during the whole season. Just hasn't quite been able to hook together the races, or made some mistakes, or had some bad luck, and that's hurt him as he's pulled away from Gabriel Norse up to 1.4 seconds now, as we have 13 minutes left on this race to go. Certainly not over. Very easy to make a mistake around here, and 13 minutes of plenty of time to make a mistake. But yeah, drivers now very much single file. Not really any moves are looking to be made due to the 1.5 second gaps. Pretty uniform gaps throughout, really. I mean, we've got that 3.5 second gap there, but apart from that, tends to be about 1.5 seconds. Not hugely reminiscent of what we've seen throughout this season. Quite often we've seen some very close racing, as that's Gabriel Norse there getting a little bit wide on the grass. But yeah, we have seen some very, very close racing, mimicking what you typically get in real life for the Ginetta Juniors. But not being mimicked too much by this round, and I think that's probably partially because Gabriel knows that there's no point in making any risks now, and he might as well just keep it fairly clean, make sure he doesn't get any penalty points, make sure he doesn't make any silly mistakes, and just finish the race, really, as we see lots of purple laps being set there behind. But it's not going to be enough to catch Logan, as he's now 2.1 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. We've got these championship standings, of course, in these positions, as we say, looking to be held very similar. But that is Gabriel Norse again, watching him come around the tight hairpin and guide us around a lap of Oulton Park now, coming down towards Knickerbrook Chicane, just looking to follow Logan McAllister, not looking like he's trying to catch anybody particularly here. And yeah, coming through Knickerbrook Chicane now. Very much the gap is holding now. It seems like Gabriel and Logan's pace is very close. We have seen throughout the season that they seem to be pretty much neck and neck generally. It'll be very interesting to see in the next race if we get this happening. We'll of course have the reverse grid in race 2, which makes it very exciting. We often see a bit of carnage on that opening lap, as the fastest drivers of Logan McAllister and Gabriel tend to try and make up those positions very early on and make them up as quickly as possible. We've seen Gabriel in the past go from last to first on just lap 1, which is very impressive from him. But that's what typically tends to happen. Their pace is very strong, these top 2. Sometimes you see them working together, trying to fight their way, weave their way through that pack. But quite often we do just see an all-out brawl right from lap 1. And sometimes you'll see a bit of a mistake from somebody, meaning that it's a bit easier for somebody else to weave through. But yeah, race 2 is typically the more interesting race due to that reverse grid, and seeing a lot more battles and a lot more defending. And there's often one person who is not typically out in front that does end up leading. But yeah, they end up trying to defend that position, and then it typically gets closed by the end and is taken by some of our championship leaders. Logan still doing everything he can to keep the championship alive, with North sitting there in second, but so far Gabriel is provisionally winning the championship with his second place. And I believe he should be able to, well, currently given his form, he's going to very easily be able to hold on to that, with them still managing to gap the people behind. But he's not able to catch Logan. Logan still trying to set the fastest laps, maximize every single point possible. But even if he does get the fastest lap and the win, it's not going to be enough to take that championship, unfortunately. But he still gets himself a nice 3 hours in the Ginetta Simulator, which is nothing to be scoffed at. A brilliant prize. I've been down there a couple of times myself, and the simulator is absolutely brilliant. And it is literally well, depending on what you choose to do, it is literally the Ginetta G40 cut in half, and you are in the cockpit with a proper brake pedal, a very good wheel, with a wraparound screen all around you, which mimics and immerses you incredibly well on Assetto Corsa. Of course, in the Ginetta Junior as well, if that's what you choose to do. But yeah, a brilliant prize, and you get to see the amazing behind the scenes of what Ginetta do. And their factory is incredibly impressive, with lots of different cars that they, of course, manufacture and hand build, and an awful lot of carbon fiber, as Logan looks like he will go to see. And third place, Will Clark will, of course, get that gaming monitor, which is a very expensive monitor actually, and definitely a prize that is not to be disregarded. Still 2.5 seconds between Logan and Gabriel. Pace very, very similar now. Logan will want to take that fastest lap, but it looks like they're going to be neck and neck between who will take it, and they are still able to pull out that gap to the cars behind, which is very impressive. They've now pulled it up to 5 seconds in just 12 minutes in this race, which is very impressive given the closeness of these cars, being same power. I believe it's very similar setups that they're all on. But yeah, low power typically means very small margins. So being able to pull a 5-second gap is very impressive. And Logan McAllister is doing a brilliant job of just holding it out in front and looking to maximize the points that he can gain. Much like real life, as we see Will Clark there having a little bit of a moment out wide at the final corner. But yeah, much like real life, where the setup is fairly fixed, you can only change tyre pressure, fuel load and brake bias in this series. So it's primarily about the driver's skill, driver ability, and what they can maximize out of the car. 7 minutes to go. I believe that will be around about 4 laps to go. And Logan McAllister, of course, pulling that big gap out in front now of 3 seconds. Could still make some mistakes, but it's unlikely. We've seen that once Logan gets into the rhythm from these previous races that he's been able to win, that he has been able to just get into a rhythm, set some very consistent and very fast laps, and he's able to pull a gap to anybody he chooses, pretty much, or is able to catch the gap to pretty much anybody. So I think his outright pace seems to be the fastest of anybody in the championship. As we now watch Logan coming through Druids, that penultimate corner of the Oulton Park lap. Very fast corner, making sure you get into both apexes. I believe in either 4th or 5th, depending on how the drivers fancy taking it. I believe Logan just took it in 4th there. As we come on board now, into the final corner, down to 3rd gear, in over the curb, and running it all the way out wide, maximising the track usage, maximising your lap time, as Logan now keeping it tight over the line, minimising the distance to the finish line to get that fastest lap and shortest distance possible. Very fast turn 1, of course, as we get a lot of rotation, as we saw there, in 4th gear, coming down towards Cascades now, another very fast corner for these cars, down into 4th, getting it in for a fairly late apex. Make sure you get that good exit up the hill, which may not look like an uphill, but it certainly is a bit of an uphill, especially if you go on a track warp. And now braking as late as possible without losing too much minimum speed, getting it down to 1st as Logan chooses there, and getting that good exit again. Big uphill here, down towards Knickerbrook as we come uphill and then back downhill, but a fairly long straight in these cars, so important to get a good exit really. Coming down towards Knickerbrook, we want to get it right in over this curb, as I'm sure we're about to see Logan do exactly that. Yep, and then right in tight to that bollard, as we see him using the invisible, or not invisible, but what would you say, non-existent bollard almost. And another important corner to get a good exit out of, coming up the hill. Since they have such low power, you really need to keep up that speed, get those good exits. And now we're back towards Druids at the back of the back of the track, and again Gabriel or Logan managing to hold that 4-second or so gap. Gabriel and Logan now keeping and extending that lead to everybody else, minimizing that pressure. 5.5 second gap. There is now absolutely zero pressure on them, and they could almost make some pretty big mistakes and get away with it now. Certainly not so much Logan. He's got 4 seconds behind him, which is certainly enough for a mistake to put him back in the clutches of Gabriel. But Gabriel probably won't be needing to do that, as we say, currently provisionally taking the championship. Logan again, coming down towards Cascades. 4 minutes left to go, which I believe when they come over the line will be 2 laps left to go. And again, Logan continuing to extend that lead. If this is your first time watching the Ginetta Junior official eSeries, it probably seems a little bit more tame than you would have thought, with 14 or so years old drivers fighting on the track. But that is not the case in the previous rounds, as we have seen some incredibly close racing. But this time, I believe that potentially now that some of the drivers realizing that they can't so much win prizes, potentially dropping out. So we've unfortunately got a fairly small grid here. But we still have some incredibly fast drivers and brilliant prizes up for grabs, as we now watch Ishan Nijar up into 3rd place, taking, I believe it will be his 3rd podium of the season if he's able to keep this up. As another driver who's just been able to progress throughout this season, build on his results. I believe he wasn't at Oulton, but he was here for round 2 at Donington, and he has been able to massively improve from someone who definitely wasn't in podium contention to now fairly consistently being interviewed by myself or Zach Sweeney, who is not here with us today due to internet problems. I believe that he has cut in his area, so he hasn't been able to join us for this round, unfortunately. He would normally do the main commentating, and I would be the co-commentator. But it's been switched around this time, so that I'm taking the lead, and I've got Tom Farah with me doing the co-commentary. But previously in the championship, some highlights. We've got Anglesey, of course, was a bit of a highlight. Very carnage race with Logan, unfortunately, having some contact and leading to him spinning, having a brilliant recovery drive back up to second or third, I believe it was. But again, Gabriel keeping it consistent, taking that top spot. And that was one of those races to watch, especially Silverstone as well. Some very, very close racings from all the drivers. Lots of three wide moments. And yeah, all the drivers were, well, you couldn't have predicted who was going to win, even on the last lap. So yeah, a little bit different to what we are seeing now. As we come towards the final lap now, I believe that once it goes checkered flag, we'll have one more lap. So the draw, or that might be it actually. So there's 1 or 2 more laps left for Logan, who has now been able to pull all the way up to a 5-second lead over Gabriel Norse. And Gabriel has been able to pull a 7-second lead to the people behind. A big shout out to Mick Sutton for organising this series. This has been, I'm sure Gabriel would say, a brilliant series for him because, you know, he's been able to enter, well, provisionally enter the Ginetta Junior Scholarship, a prize whereby it goes over 2 days if you're lucky enough to get there to the second day. And it tests you on your driving, your media, and your fitness. And on the first day, sorry. And on the second day, you're tested on your driving and your media. And it's fitness, for example, is 6 minutes of fitness, which sounds easy, only 6 minutes. But if you are to do it ever, you'll realize that the 6 minutes will probably be the worst 6 minutes of your life. Given how tough it is. As we see there, Logan making a little bit of a mistake. Going to bring that gap back towards Gabriel from all the way up to 5 seconds. Is going to be, by the end of this straight, probably about 3.5, 4 seconds. But yeah, Ginetta Junior Scholarship, if you're able to win, it is a funded season in the Ginetta Junior Championship, which is probably, well, is one of the biggest junior championships in the world. And you are, of course, on the British GT Championship, supporting British GT, alongside the likes of GB4, GB3, and the other Ginetta series such as GT Academy and the GT Pro Championship. So yeah, winning this, driver could go into the, well, will go into the Ginetta Junior Scholarship, which could set up their motorsport career in the future. Being able to get that funded first season. As we see now, checkered flag, and Logan McAllister takes the first win of the final round of the championship. And he's able to maximize his points. But I believe that is Gabriel winning the championship and able to take that Ginetta Junior Scholarship entry. So we will get the top 3 into the commentary box, and there will be an interview for each of them, and I'm just going to get confirmation that is Gabriel that's won the championship. But we will start with third place of Ginetta. Very well done on securing that final podium spot. It was a fairly tame race out there, to be fair, but it was a difficult track, very tight track. So how hard did you think it was to hold on to that third position?
Well, I mean, at the start, I knew the gap between me and Will in qualifying was quite small. I think it was around 20 milliseconds or something. So it was quite a nice move around the outside. That was quite nice. But then, yeah, you're right. After that was pretty lonely, to be honest. I was just kind of managing the gap. And yeah, it was pretty quiet. But it was still fun. But it was really hard to just keep it on the track and not make mistakes, to be honest. Because Oulton Park being very bumpy and narrow is quite unforgiving. But there was a little segment of the race where it was quite fun defending from Will. Obviously, Oulton being very narrow, all you need to do is just really drive in the middle of the track, and there's no room to really get past.
Yeah, for sure. We did see some good defending from you there, and yeah, very difficult track to keep it on, or very difficult track to keep it on the track. So well done. And that was Ginetta. Now moving up 1 on the podium, Gabriel Norse. Managing to take that second position, exactly what you needed to provisionally take the championship victory. So how was that race for you?
It was very good. I couldn't really keep up with Logan because he was very quick. But yeah, it was fine. I kind of just drove my own race. Didn't really have anyone around me most of the time, so I was just managing myself.
Yeah, for sure. It did look like a pretty lonely race for everybody there. But yeah, provisionally taking the championship. So very well done on that. Moving up one, we have now Logan McAllister taking that first race win of the round. Amazing race, Logan. You had brilliant pace there, just able to keep pulling away from everybody behind. How does that change your mindset going into race 2?
It was a very good race, first of all. It was really consistent, setting fast lap in the end as well. I more just planned that race as a quali session, just trying to set as fast and consistent laps as possible. Next race, I'll go into it the same as I have every other race, just see how the race plays. Obviously, we want to try climb up the grid as fast and quickly as possible, and we're going to aim for that win again. But yeah, overall, really good race, and we'll see what this one brings.
Very well done. You are provisionally in second place in the championship, getting that Ginetta simulator for 3 hours. So yeah, hope to see you back in here for race 2.
Thank you very much.
So that was Logan McAllister, our race winner for race 1 of the evening. We are less than 1 minute to the grid again, as I'm sure we will get another beautiful grid walk. And yeah, it will be a reverse grid for race 2. So we will see Logan starting last, North starting from second last, and I believe it will be Ishan Nijas starting third from last. We do often see some very interesting racing in these reverse grids. So yeah, I'm sure this round will be no different from the others. We are again less than 1 minute to grid now, and we will talk you through the exact order of the grid with who is starting in pole position. I believe it will be Lewis Morton Evans from memory starting on pole position, and we'll have to see how it pans out. We have seen Lewis Morton Evans, there we go, on pole position. We have seen him take that reverse grid pole before, and he was able to do a very good job of it actually. Unfortunately got pipped in the last few minutes but of his podium spot, but there he is. Moving on to second place will be Nathan Snaith, lining up in second position behind him in the blue and black car. Moving on to Will Clark in third position, which if he was able to hold that would certainly not be his first podium of the season. Very experienced being on the podium. Next up we have Ishan Nija, who put up a very good race in that one, taking that final podium spot. Then on to our second place driver and provisional championship winner, Gabriel Norse, who will be, again provisionally, said it a lot now, entering the Ginetta Scholarship after this round on 11th of October. And finally, starting in last place is Logan McAllister, who just won that last race, the number 95 car in the Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing livery. So we are not too long to green now, as we see again it will be a very close race between all the drivers. Make sure to keep an eye on Logan and Gabriel, looking to weave their way through the pack as quickly as possible, because you really don't want to be losing too much time, as we see some horns there, which I'm not sure championship organisers are very happy about. But yeah, it tends to be very much get up the grid as quickly as possible and not lose too much time, because as soon as you start to lose time in these cars, it's very difficult to claw back, especially because as soon as the first driver is out in the front, with the margins being just as tight as they are, you don't really get the kind of massive gaps between drivers in terms of lap time. So and especially around here where you can defend very easily, it will be a very close race, and I'm sure Lewis Morton Evans definitely has a chance to keep it on the podium for this race, which I'm not sure that he's had before. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to take his first podium of the season. Nathan Snaith will very much be hassling him and hoping to stay in front of Ishan Nija, his championship rival. but Nathan Snaith has had 2 podiums before, and he'll definitely be looking to take a third, starting in that second position. And Will Clark will be hoping to have a slightly better race than he did in that last race to add another podium to his tally. He's had seconds, he's had thirds. I don't believe that he's had race wins, so I'm sure he'll be looking to try and take that race win, or his first ever race win in this race tonight. 20 minutes to go, and we will have to see what happens. Watching again, watching Gabriel Norse and Logan McAllister are 2 fastest drivers in the championship, as we can see the live championship standings there on the right. Gabriel Norse, Logan McAllister, and Gabriel Norse again, provisionally winning the championship. We've got 30 seconds till the lights come on, and we will have to watch and see, and hopefully we won't have to have that safety car that we can see at the back of the pack have an intervention here. Lights soon to come on. There we go. 6 lights. Red light number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 as they are held on. And we are lights out and away we go here for the Ginetta Junior official eSeries final race of the season. Good start from Logan McAllister, being able to hold on to that first... Logan McAllister, sorry, Lewis Moore Evans, being able to hold on to that first position. We see some good starts further back from Ishan Nijar there, already hassling Will Clark, trying to get past. Gabriel Norse immediately fighting Will Clark and Ishan Nijar, trying to get past, trying to make up those positions as quickly as possible, as that's Logan McAllister and Gabriel Norse slotting their way through on Ishan there. But that is Ishan holding the inside line into a very, very tight next corner. So that will be a very difficult move for him to make. Will Clark up into second place with Nathan Snaith there getting up into the lead. Brilliant moves from him, and Gabriel Norse now being able to get up into that third position with Lewis Moore Evans trying to take it back from him. I believe he's on the inside line there, but Logan McAllister not quite making the progress that we'd have thought he would. He's currently in last as he's there making contact with Ishan Nijar there. That was not the cleanest move I've ever seen, but that we'll have to see what happens after the race for that. But Logan McAllister, 2.9 seconds, 3 seconds off the back of the pack now. That's certainly not going to be the easiest gap to make up, but that's now Gabriel Norse up into third position after that first lap, starting in last in that 6th position. Not far behind Will Clark, who is not far behind Nathan Snaith. But I imagine Nathan Snaith right now can't believe his luck. Up into first position, looking to take his 2nd win of the season as he's go very wide on the exit of the final corner, which Will Clark follows him off the track. And yeah, that'll be Gabriel Norse capitalising on that, as that's now Will Clark up the inside of Nathan Snaith. Is he able to hold that inside position? Nathan Snaith will be looking to make the switch back, as it's now all over each other for Will Clark and Snaith and Norse, all trying to get into that first position, battling for all of the podium spots. And that's Will Clark a little bit off the apex there, with Nathan Snaith having a bit of a snap there, allowing Gabriel Norse to get alongside onto the outside, and he was now holding the inside, not wanting to let past Norse, even though Norse has currently championship lead. And that's now Nathan Snaith holding it down the inside, pushing Gabriel all the way to the outside of the road. But Gabriel Norse is able to hold that 2nd position, and it looks like he's potentially going to keep a hold of that into Knickerbrook. This 3rd position for Snaith, massively helping him in the championship fight against Ishan Nijar, P4 in the championship. And if he can hold on to this, he will add 1, of course, to his tally of podiums, with Lewis Moore Evans behind him, Logan McAllister, followed by Ishan Nijar, who unfortunately got bumped there and is now 6 seconds off the pack, which is not a gap that would be easy for him to fight back, as that's Gabriel Norse going up the inside of Will Clark, pushes him there on the exit of Druids, and that's Will Clark very, very wide and struggling to get past or to get back onto the track, as it is very difficult to get back on there due to the lack of grip and grass. And that was a very cheeky move from Gabriel, just seemed a little bit sloppy there. That could be a penalty for him, which technically could affect his championship, but is still unlikely, as he's now looking to make some moves on Nathan Snaith. Down the inside into turn 1, braking later, getting ahead by the apex, but he has to leave the room for Snaith. Snaith getting forced onto the green track limits there. And Snaith will have the inside coming down into Cascades, but Norse is able to clear him. Nathan Snaith trying to get back towards the inside, but just can't quite do it. And that's Gabriel Norse taking the lead. Lewis Morton Evans there. 1/10 off the back of Snaith. Snaith will have to defend, coming into the hairpin, as he does, side by side. But this is not really a place for Lewis Morton Evans to make a move, as Logan McAllister taking advantage of Lewis Morton Evans making a small mistake of locking up. Very easy to do in these cars, and that's Logan McAllister rounding out the podium in 3rd position. Gabriel Norse, not really sure what he was doing there, flashing and weaving, but we'll have to see what that means. We can probably ask him afterwards if he's able to hold on to this, onto this win, as that's Lewis Morton Evans. Has not had a podium yet and was unfortunately made that mistake, which has dropped him a position. Logan McAllister, of course, championship contender throughout the season, making that move up into 2nd position on Nathan Snaith. A bit of a cleaner move, you would argue, than Gabriel's was on Will Clark. And now Logan McAllister will be looking to get into that rhythm that we saw him in the last race, who had a big pace advantage over Gabriel. And I'm sure he will be looking to close down that 1.5 second gap, as we have seen him do in the past. We've seen him close much bigger gaps than that to the likes of Gabriel Norse, and so I'm sure that if Gabriel gets into that, if Logan gets into that rhythm, he'll be able to catch Gabriel, and we might just see a bit of a fight on the last lap, as that's there. That is Lewis Morton Evans there, going pretty wide into turn 1, missing that apex, having to defend now against Nathan Snaith into Cascades. Nathan Snaith trying it around the outside, trying to carry that momentum as he makes the move around the outside through Cascades. That was a brilliant move there. Not much Lewis Morton Evans could do. Just couldn't quite keep up the same momentum that Nathan Snaith was able to. And Nathan Snaith now back up into that 3rd position. Take his potential, or provisionally his 3rd podium of the season so far. He's taken a 2nd, he's taken a 1st, and he's now on course to take a 1st. As I say, Logan McAllister already taking 6/10 out of Gabriel Norse. And I'm sure that Logan will almost be wanting to just prove a point now, that his pace has been great the whole season. He just hasn't quite been able to have the luck and the lack of mistakes that Gabriel has had take the win of the championship. Logan McAllister, another 3/10 taken out of Gabriel Norse. We have seen some brilliant battles between these two in the past, so I'm hoping we're going to see just that. Last race, obviously, was a little bit, I wouldn't say disappointing, because we obviously saw Gabriel taking the provisional championship, but a pretty tame race. Not much going on, and the gaps sort of just fizzled out, held about a second and a half, and then slowly built, as we see Lewis Morton Evans there going pretty wide, very wide, and Will Clark able to get towards the inside of him, moving down towards turn 1. This seems to be the main overtaking opportunity for this race, as Will Clark has already cleared him by turn 1, and he goes up into 4th position. 4/10 off of Nathan Snaith, who will be, and I'm sure Clark will be looking to take that podium position, because in the past he has shown that his pace has been quicker than that of Snaith's. But Logan McAllister, blistering pace now, all the way up to 2/10 off of Gabriel, as I'm sure now he's just going to be trying to fill his mirrors. Gabriel there getting spooked into defending a little bit, and Logan already applying that pressure. I'm sure Gabriel shouldn't be fighting this too hard, because he doesn't need to. And well, to be fair, even if he does not finish this race, he will still provisionally take the championship. So I'm sure that we should see a good battle here, because it doesn't really matter what happens for either of these two now. They've kind of solidified their positions, being 1st and 2nd, as we see Nathan Snaith there running Will Clark onto the exit of Knickerbrook, onto the grass, as he is able to keep down the inside of Nathan Snaith, but not quite able to hold on to it coming down towards Druids. And that's Gabriel Norse defending on Logan McAllister, trying to make it stick around the outside for McAllister, and he's able to hold it around the outside, not yet making that move happen. but he is able to hold it. Coming down towards the final corner, Gabriel Norse on the inside. Logan will be looking to hold it around the outside here potentially, and not quite able to do it as Gabriel runs it across the green curb on the outside, and Logan is forced to concede that position. Gabriel now leading down into turn 1. Being massively pressured by Logan here. A small mistake there from Gabriel. Getting a little bit of a twitch on there. He'll have to defend down into Cascades again. And Logan McAllister now. Can he make the same move that Snaith was able to make? We won't know as we watch Snaith coming down towards Cascades. But no, he wasn't. Logan now having to tuck in back behind Gabriel. Just, watching. Getting ready to pick his moves. He doesn't need to be rash with them because there's 10 minutes left still, which in this championship is a lot. So there's still plenty of time for him to make that move. And I'm sure Gabriel will be wanting this race to end now. Just being in the lead. Being under a lot of pressure from a very, very quick driver, being Logan McAllister. But Gabriel now a little bit wide there, really, for the ideal line. You don't want to be going quite that wide because you need to set up this exit up the hill. Which Logan was able to do just that little bit better, as we can see from the top left, bringing down that time from 2.5 to 1/10 now. Gabriel again defending into Druids, but Logan, I'm sure, potentially setting some patterns now, and towards the end of the race, he might end up breaking those patterns, catching Gabriel off guard to try and take that lead, as we have seen him do exactly that at Silverstone. Again, Gabriel going incredibly defensive in this, which is very easy to do around here at Oulton Park, as Logan, they're trying to hold it around the outside at the final corner. A very ambitious move, but he's just not quite able to hold on to it. He does have a good run down into turn 1, again on the outside, potentially looking to make a little switch back here, as he is able to get that undercut on Gabriel Norse. As Gabriel Norse there trying to defend it from him, sweeping over arguably a little bit too aggressively, and Gabriel was forced to lift a little bit there, as to not make contact with Logan. As it stands, Snaith is going to lose P4 in the championship to Ishan Nijar, as he's now down in 6th and Ishan Nijar up in 4th. As the battle does rage on a little bit further back, but up in 1st. This is where the battle is truly happening. Logan McAllister still just pestering Gabriel Norse, trying to throw him off a little bit. And Logan McAllister there, diving back towards the inside. Gabriel Norse covering it off, coming into Knickerbrook. And Logan just not quite able to get past him around such a tight track that it is. Gabriel's positioned his car very, very nicely. And he's just, not quite able to get past around here. I have learnt myself driving around this track that it is a very difficult track to overtake around, especially in the wet. But even in the dry, there's not a huge number of heavy braking zones. And since the track is so tight, as we heard, I believe it was Logan saying in the interview, you can kind of just hold it, Ishan saying in the interview, you can kind of just hold it on the inside line and no one can really get past you. So that's exactly what we're watching Gabriel do now. Again, moving towards that inside of the track, so that Logan is going to be forced to take the long way around the outside of Gabriel, but he's just not quite going to be able to get it done, as it seems like Logan is kind of sending it into the corner to make sure he gets to the outside, and then he can hold the inside for the next corner. So this is going to be a very interesting battle to see if Logan can potentially take this lead from Gabriel. But at the minute, Gabriel is just doing exactly what he needs to hold on to that victory. And I'm sure they'll be wanting to win this race because it's the last race of the season. A very nice race for them to win. As again, that gap just staying about the same, because Logan just can't quite get past as he jinks to the inside, but he loses a bit of time by doing that. So he needs to make sure he picks his moves well, and he makes sure that he gets the move done as soon as he makes that move, as soon as he tries to make that move happen. Gaps are towards the back, kind of starting to settle down again. But yeah, this battle very much not over up the front. if Nija is able to get past Will Clark now, then Nija will definitely be getting P4 in the championship over Snaith. So there's another battle to watch on the timing screens. But again, every time that Logan seems to drop back from Gabriel slightly, he's just able to immediately get it back as Gabriel going on the grass to defend from Logan there. And Logan again being forced to that wide line, trying it around the outside as he has done a few times already, but he's just not quite able to make it happen. And we're seeing very, very identical laps happening now, in the way that every lap defending in the same places, and the same moves are trying to happen. Logan able to get the same runs in the same places, but he's just not quite able to do anything with them. And I'm sure Logan will be getting quite frustrated now as he just can't make any of these moves happen. As that's Gabriel North there making a bit of contact with Logan. And that's not the first bit of contact we've seen Gabriel making with some of the other drivers. And that has immediately put Logan all the way back down to 2 seconds almost behind Gabriel. So Logan's not going to be most pleased with that. Not that it makes too much difference in terms of the championship, but I'm sure that Logan will have some words to say with that. These two have had their clashes throughout the season a little bit, and that won't help that. I'm not sure why Gabriel's weaving there, but Logan flashing, displaying his frustration in the only way that he can. Can't really shake your hands in the sim, but you certainly can flash your lights. Which you can't do in real life in these cars because they don't actually have any lights. But yeah, Logan again, not very happy. We have seen a couple of times throughout the season, Logan just being ushered wide and not really much that he can do about it, or just kind of, again, not really his fault because it was Gabriel there pushing him out wide. But I'm sure Logan will have some words to say about that. And there are possibility for penalties now because Gabriel, during this race alone, has arguably ushered a couple of people wide and potentially escorted them a little bit beyond the track limits. And that is not what Gabriel really needs to be doing, since yes, he's taken the championship lead and he's winning and he's provisionally won, but technically penalties can drop him behind Logan. It's unlikely because he does have quite a big lead over Logan, but it's certainly not impossible as we watch now, this battle between Nathan Snaith and Lewis Moran Evans. 1/10 between them. So yeah, not the only battle happening is at the front of the pack. This is directly at the back of the pack, as we're seeing Nathan Snaith all over the back of Lewis Moran Evans as he is having to defend left, right and centre, mainly on the inside. Nathan Snaith trying to flash his lights, get in his head a little bit and throw him off. As that's Nathan Snaith going to the inside, managing to get to the inside, and now he's going to be on the inside down towards Nickelbrook, but I don't think he's going to quite have enough momentum to hold it alongside Martin Evans. So he's going to have to tuck back inside or back behind, and it looks like he's trying to unsettle him down towards Nickelbrook, just pulling to the inside, trying to get him to go a bit wide or throw him off a little bit, as he makes a small mistake there and drops back just that little bit more. Logan McAllister now is in that position where it would be very easy for him to get frustrated and start to not do the fastest laps possible and just start to drop back off with Gabriel. There's only 2 minutes left in this race, but that is enough if Gabriel makes a mistake for Logan to get right onto the back of him, as we have seen Logan do exactly that before, but it's just unlikely now, as Gabriel 1.5 seconds in the lead. Small margins between these two drivers as Gabriel sets the fastest lap there, so Logan not quite able to match him, and it does seem like this is going to be the front order, but certainly not the back necessarily. Nathan Snaith going down the inside of Moran Evans, and he is able to make it stick down the inside, as that's Moran Evans going very wide there. I don't think he was escorted there by Nathan Snaith, so nothing too sketchy there from Snaith. Just a nice move down the inside at turn 1, and I have heard that there was some contact, so we'll have to see what happens about that. But Martin Evans certainly not out of the fight with Snaith, only 2 tenths behind him now. Potential to take that back. 1 minute and 30 seconds left in this race. There's either going to be 1 or 2 laps left. I believe there'll be 2 laps left, and so Logan able to take 3/10 out so far this lap from Norse, but that will not be enough at this rate to catch Norse, and so that is almost this race decided unless Norse makes a mistake, which is certainly not impossible, but throughout the season Norse has been very consistent, so we'll have to see whether he's able to hold on to that and keep that final victory of the season. Ginetta making his way through Cascades, as that's now Norse turning into the final corner. McAllister following him, 1.2 seconds back, with Will Clark 2.5 seconds off the back of McAllister. Nija trying to catch up to Clark. He is taking some time out of him, I believe. Now down to 8/10, less than a second. He's into that slipstream range now, where he should start to catch faster. Is that Snaith there, looping it at the final corner, and that will be his fight over with Morton Evans, as there was some contact that has caused that. Maybe a little bit of frustration from Morton Evans coming out there, but I'm not sure, so I won't say too much. But yeah, that will be Snaith's championship fights of 4th probably over now, as that's him and Morton Evans there having that bit of contact, putting him back to 6th position, which is last. So Logan McAllister has just taken another 4/10 this lap out of Norse. He'll be in that slipstream range, as I say, and he will now start to take big chunks out of Norse. Whether it'll be enough, we'll have to see. The last half of the lap now, certainly not over for this final race victory of the season, as Norse now throwing up a little bit of grass on the exit of Knickerbrook, coming up the hill towards Druids, 7/10 behind. It would take a big lunge from here, but certainly not over. If Gabriel makes a little mistake here, clinical at Apex, the first Apex, pretty well at second Apex. So yeah, holding that 8/10 gap, 7/10, as they're now flashing each other, trying to throw each other off a little bit. But that will be Gabriel Norse to take the final victory of the Ginetta Junior official eSeries for 2024 here at Oulton Park, and that is again him provisionally, as we said last race, taking the championship win, with Logan McAllister following him in 2nd place, not quite able to get past him from that reverse grid start. Nathan Snaith and Morton Evans here, 3/10 back is Morton Evans, but again, not quite able to make the move at the final corner as expected, and that will be Snaith in 5th. Doing very well there. So Morton Evans, sorry, must have made a mistake there for Snaith to get back past, because he was quite a way off. But yeah, that is our final race of the season, wrapped up with Norse taking the win, McAllister in 2nd, and Will Clark in 3rd. I would say we'll start with our 3rd place finisher. He's not here yet. So we will start with 2nd, Logan. Lots of... and that is Will Clark joining us now. So, Will, great race for you there. Managing to take that podium spot for the final podium spot for the last race of the season. How did you find that race? Can Will hear me? Will hear me? I'm not sure what's happened there. We'll move up for now to the 2nd place, Logan McAllister. Lots of action in that race, Logan. Looking back on that race, is there anything you'd have done differently to try and find that top spot? It looked like Gabriel was defending pretty well there, and there was an unfortunate bit of contact by the look of it. But yeah, is there anything you would have changed?
First of all, I want to say massive well done to Gabriel on winning the championship. It's been a really good season. Me and him have had really good battles, and he's just been driving well all season, and he deserves this. Could have approached the race differently. I'm not so sure. It went really good. It's just unfortunate with the start. Was it Ishan? I from my perspective, it was a racing incident. There's just not enough room. Going into the I don't know what corner is it, turn 2 or 3, with Gabriel. It was just an unfortunate bit of contact. Yeah, but apart from that, the racing was really good all season. Yeah, these cars are amazing. I really like the way they drive, and hopefully I'll be doing more of this later on with PASR.
Hopefully so. And yeah, we have seen some absolutely brilliant racing from all of the drivers this season, and especially you and Gabriel Logan with some good fights up at the front. And moving one step up to our race winner for the final race of the Ginetta Junior official eSeries, Gabriel Norse. Gabriel, how difficult did you find navigating that early traffic? Because you're able to get up quite well. You're able to get up to third on that first lap. So it seemed like you're able to make some good moves. But yeah, how did you find that kind of navigating the traffic and able to get up to that top spot?
Yeah, the traffic I think today was a lot more difficult than it has been, because I'm not like as confident at Oulton as I am at other tracks. But it was good being able to get up to at least third on the opening lap. And then I think by about lap 3 I was in first. And then I kind of had a couple of battles. I mean, I had a battle with Will, a battle with Logan. And unfortunately with the battle with Logan, there was just a bit of contact. And I just didn't really feel like there was any way that I could have avoided that. But yeah, it was really good racing, and yeah, really good racing all year with Logan and Will.
For sure, it was some good racing. So of course, winning the championship, you're now going to go into the Ginetta Junior Scholarship. So what does that win mean to you to go into this scholarship?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good opportunity, and, you know, it could take me quite far, you know, if I could do good in the scholarship and get maybe the win of it and winning the scholarship as you did, Jude. But yeah, it's going to be a really good opportunity, and it will be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ginetta Junior is such a great step on that first step of the ladder on motorsport, training you so well, and of course the scholarship able to fund a lot of that season. I'm not sure if we can hear from Will Clark. You there? No, we can't hear him, unfortunately. But that was our podium interviews. Well done, very well done to Gabriel Norse, and yeah, hope that I'll be at the scholarship, so I'll see you there.
Yep, thank you.
Gabriel Norse, our championship winner and final race winner of the season. And that wraps up our official eSeries here at Oulton Park for this final round. And of course, Gabriel winning. And as we see here, he will win free entry into the Ginetta Scholarship, where he will go on the 11th to 13th of October to be tested on his driving, his media and his fitness, to see whether or not he will be able to come out on top of the generally 60 drivers to have that funded season in the Ginetta Junior Championship. In second place we have McAllister. He will win his 3 hours in the Ginetta Simulator, as I was explaining earlier, which is an incredible prize, and get to see the behind the scenes. Will Clark taking that third spot and able to win that Samsung G5 gaming monitor, another brilliant prize offered by PASR, with the 100% attendance award as well, winning that incredible cap. And there are a few drivers, I believe, that will have won that, with Nathan Snaith being one of them. I think Norse will take another one, and there's a few other drivers that will also go on to take them. And that's been it for us this round. We've had me and Tom O'Farrell in the commentary box, with Tom O'Farrell being very busy behind the scenes, sorting out the cameras, making everything look pretty, as Zach Sweeney would say. And our series organizer, Mick Sutton, wouldn't be possible without him setting up this championship and all the other championships that PASR runs, such as the Super Touring Series and the JSCC Series, and many more. And our safety car driver, who didn't have to come out this round, who's had a day off, being Jordan Taylor. That's been it from us here at the Ginetta Junior official eSeries. We hope you've enjoyed, and we will see you soon.